Hello there. Welcome to the Art and Artist Podcast. My name is Kyle Ariel Knowles, and today's guest is Kat Lane. Kat is a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist from Boulder, Colorado. Her true passion is connecting with people through the power of music as a means of communication. She has been writing and performing devastating folk pop since she was a child, with her music focusing on themes like nostalgia, communication, love, and loss. Kat's debut EP, They Can't All Be Good, was self-released in August of 2022 and has garnered over 10,000 listens across streaming platforms. But Kat's true light shines when she performs live. Welcome to the show, Kat.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to be on the show. So I guess my first question is, can you define what devastating folk pop is?
Yeah, totally. I have a lot of love and respect for folk music. I grew up in Colorado, and there's a strong folk community and folk environment here. And then I also grew up loving pop music and catchy choruses and hooks. And I think it kind of just naturally happened as I started playing more and more and started writing more that I kind of had this folk influence, but then I also had this fun pop influence that influences a lot of my melody choices. So it tends to be kind of sad. I think a lot of my music is getting a little bit less sad as I've gotten older. So I don't know, but yeah, it's devastating sometimes.
Okay. So name some artists that you grew up listening to that might have influenced some of your songwriting.
Wow. I'm definitely, it's always funny when people say this, but I am all over the map in terms of listening. My dad is really into music, and I grew up listening to a lot of Neil Young and Bob Dylan and the band and Van Morrison and some Grateful Dead too. It's just kind of a Colorado thing a little bit. And then as I got older, I really got into Gregory Alan Isakov, who's a local Boulder guy who, has gained a lot of popularity. I love a band called Watch House, formerly Mandolin Orange. And then, yeah, these days, who am I listening to a lot right now? I've been very into Lizzie McAlpine. And okay. I relate to her music a lot, and I think we have similar writing styles.
Well, so she has something that's on TikTok all the time, right? Not failure to launch, but hard launch, right? Is that the same artist?
I don't know.
I think it's someone else.
I don't know, but she definitely had a song blow up on TikTok, and then that kind of she used that to platform her career. So, I mean, we can talk about TikTok, but
yeah, we need to.
Yeah. And it's I never want to refer to any artist as a TikTok artist. They Noah Khan is another example of somebody who blew up on TikTok, but these are not TikTok artists. They're just artists, and they are using this tool to platform their music. So yeah, she's definitely popular on TikTok.
Yeah, and I swear we'll have to look it up, but people are putting something and writing some text and saying hard launch, because they, I don't know, just broke up with someone or got a new job or whatever.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because, they blew up on TikTok, or they're a TikTok artist, or they're an American Idol, Kelly Clarkson, right?
Yeah, totally.
She was an American Idol, whatever. I think you have to use any mediums you can to get your music out there. I'm sensing that you have a little bit of, I don't know if it's negativity or trepidation with TikTok and being on TikTok. I know you've gone off it and gone back on, and yeah, but you do have an audience there, and people are saying, you just posted something 18 hours ago. I just saw a TikTok of yours where you're singing, and someone is literally saying this, I needed this today. So this person would have never heard you or known you as an artist if you were just doing traditional things or just putting your stuff out on Spotify or Apple or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I discovered you on TikTok. So this podcast wouldn't even be happening if you weren't on TikTok. And now you're in my on repeat on Spotify, and I'm listening to music there. So do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
talk about TikTok and your like hesitation to be on there and going off and then coming back on? And
I have had like a pretty like challenging relationship with social media in general, just like everyone else in the world. But with TikTok specifically, I think there are actually a lot of things I really like about it. And something that I love about it is that like it's it's honest. Like the algorithm like is decided by what people like. So like when I'm posting on Instagram, which I do, it's to my friends and family, and my friends and family, of course, are like, "Oh my God, we love you." But something that I like about TikTok is that it's like ruthless, and it's kind of brutally honest, and it's like something that I thought would like totally hit just like doesn't. And like some aspect of that is just like the luck of the draw or whatever. I have no idea how the algorithm works, but like another aspect of it is that it is like truth. It's like, okay, if people are liking it, then they're liking it, and they're not my friends. I don't know them. They're strangers. But it's also just I mean, you're a musician, you're an artist as well. Like just self-promotion in general is hard, and I think in 2025 like you're not an you're not just a musician, you're also your manager, your booker, you're your own agent. Like you're like you have to do everything. You have to do all of your own marketing. And like truth be told, I'm just not very good at that stuff. So I am committed to posting and to getting music out there as much as possible. But I think kind of the bargain that I've made with myself is that it has to feel honest. Like I am not gonna like thirst trap videos with trending sounds. I'm gonna just post like my music with my lyrics, and if that works, great. And then it feels honest and it feels fantastic. But like, if I was like blowing up for something that didn't feel authentic to myself, I don't think that that leads to anywhere fulfilling. So my thing with TikTok is like, as long as I'm being like honest and true to myself with what I'm posting, great.
I don't know. I think there's so many people discovering music on TikTok.
It's true. It's the place to be.
Yeah, it's the place to be. And when I look at like if I look at your YouTube, right?
There's like
Or
nothing
how
else.
many subscribers you have there, or compared to Instagram. I mean, like Instagram compared to TikTok, you have like 3 times the number of followers on TikTok, right? Or more, 3.5 times.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that if you keep posting, the algorithm rewards you.
It does.
And your authenticity, and you know this whole idea that you know your true light shines when you perform live. You even did a cover. I don't know how many months ago. I think when I first reached out to you, I think that was the first thing I saw was a cover you were doing of a song, and you were playing piano, and I was just like,
oh yeah,
amazing! It's amazing, you know. And so, thank you, and I hope you stay on TikTok and keep posting and things like that. But I understand how it's hard to be all things to everyone.
Yeah, it's TikTok is kind of like it's almost like restored my hope in music a little bit for myself as well, because it's like I play locally a lot in Colorado, and I have like an awesome community of musical friends, and I value that so much, and it's so fulfilling to me to just like be out in the actual world playing music also. But like I often ask myself, like, where is this going? Like, why do I spend all this time writing these songs? Like, and it's because I like love to write songs, and I would be doing that whether anybody liked them or not. But having the ability to blast it out into the universe and just see what happens does feel a little bit magical to me, even though I like, you know, fundamentally despise social media generally. It does feel like, you know, there's possibility there.
It's like, it's so funny because a lot of people on TikTok are like, I want to be on TikTok and I want people to follow me, but not people that know me.
Yeah.
You know, that's for the other socials. So, and I noticed, I think comparing your Instagram versus TikTok, you're posting a lot more to TikTok than Instagram.
Well, right. I actually think that's such an interesting concept too, because it's like, well, philosophically, then you have kind of like this like fragmented self. And occasionally I'll like be on TikTok. I try not to scroll that much. Like I really try not to like consume content that much on TikTok, which is also like a, ethical, I don't know, like, it's like, is it okay to produce a bunch of content, but like disagree with consuming it? Who knows? But I think I'll occasionally like see somebody from like high school or something pop up on my TikTok, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, who is this? Like, this is like a totally different person than the person that like I know in real life. And I think that's really interesting because it's like, well, I in an ideal world for me, there wouldn't be like a fragmentation. Like, I would be comfortable posting anything I'm comfortable posting on TikTok to my Instagram, or just saying in front of a room of people. Like, I don't want to have like a hidden self on like some corner of the internet. And like, I think, that's just part of like maturing as an artist as well, where you're just like, I have confidence in my abilities and I like the music that I'm writing. So shouldn't it be suitable for anybody to listen to? I don't know. Yeah, it's always like harder to play for people that you know than strangers, but it's an interesting thought for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I love the conversation that we're having. So talk about how you even got into music making and singing and songwriting.
Yeah. Well, there's actually like a little bit of an error in my press kit, which I think is really funny.
Okay.
Which, because like I like kind of wrote that, but I used to have a manager and he wrote it. And I have not been writing music since I was a kid. And I've been playing music since I was a kid. I grew up playing classical violin. And actually, just this summer, I like took my violin out again for the first time in like maybe like 7 or 8 years, and took it to like the local lutherie and like had them like fix a little sound post thing in it and like fix it up. And I've been playing it, and it's been like magical. Like, I'm like, how do I know how to do this? And it's because I have this muscle memory from when I was a child. But yeah, when I was 3 years old, I was with my mom in a park, and I heard these like teenagers playing violin. There was like a little like student violin thing happening, and I was like in tears. I was like, Mom, like, that I have to do that. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, I have to do that. And she was like, you're 3 years old. You don't know what you're talking about. And then I didn't shut up about it for 6 months. And so she put me in violin lessons. And then I did that for like years. And then when I got into high school, I was like, not really into the classical thing anymore. And I just taught myself piano, and I taught myself guitar. And then I always loved to sing. Like, singing was like, I was always in choir, and I just like loved it. And I like, it makes me feel good. But it wasn't until I was like 20 years old that I was like, I should probably learn to like write lyrics. Like, I don't know how to do that. And that whole process has been like really incredible for me, because it's like learning to write lyrics is like, it's a spiritual process. It's like, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Rick Rubin?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Rick Rubin. And like, he talks about it as like these like creative ideas being on this kind of like cosmic conveyor belt. And artists like reach up and grab them and bring them down. And they're reflections of our like inner selves, but they're also like seemingly coming from this like magical place. And it took me like probably years to, I mean, I'm still doing it, but like to actually sit down and write a song and be like, this isn't the most cringe thing anyone has ever heard. It took years for me to like actually like my stuff and like myself in that way. So I'm grateful for the process for sure. But then the other kind of piece of like creative inspiration that has been so instrumental in writing for me is Jeff Tweedy from Wilco, How to Write One Song. And it's just this like little book. And my mom gave it to me in a stocking for Christmas, like, I don't know, like 6 years ago. And I read it, and it like set me free. Like, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to judge myself. Like, I can just create for the joy of creating. And like, what a delightful way to live my life. So I owe a lot to like other songwriters and other artists for kind of like shepherding the path. But yeah, every year I get a little bit less judgmental and like enjoy making music a little bit more.
Yeah, it's such a process, and I want to check out that book for sure.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned with your mom's library, Julia Cameron's on there.
Oh yeah. The Artist Way is also like
Phenomenal.
everyone should do
Yeah.
it. Whether you think you're a creative person or not, you should do it.
She talks about how it's artist abuse
It is. It's
to
artist abuse.
criticize these early works. And, true artists will support other artists.
Every great songwriter wrote so many bad songs that you never heard. Like, it's
Right.
not like they came out of the womb writing masterpieces. Like, you just gotta, like, get humble and get low and get in the dirt. And, like, I think open mics are, like, the best outlet for this. Like, because it's like, okay, there might be like a room full of people who are just like not paying attention to you. Like they're literally like you're up there and you're like bearing your soul with this new song that you wrote that might be really cringe and you don't know, and everybody's just like drinking beer and not looking at you. Like, you have to do those things. You have to humble yourself again and again and again to like refine the process.
And how do you keep going? I'm glad that TikTok is helping fuel that, like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. What other ways do you keep going as an artist?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up Julia Cameron, because the morning pages thing is so critical. I've been a journaler since I was like 17. Like, I have literally journals from like pretty much every week of my life for a decade. So that's like pretty cool to like be able to flip through and be like, oh my God, I was really dealing with a lot that summer. And like, but having like, in terms of how to keep going, one is that like you make it a day, like you make it a way to live your life. Like, instead of it's like this thing I do, I have this hobby. It's like, I mean, like, I want to live creatively, whether that's like building a garden in my backyard or writing songs or like making dinner. Like, I want to like live in a creative way. So that's kind of always in the back of my mind. And then I think the other way that you keep going, do you know Elizabeth Gilbert, the Eat, Pray, Love lady?
Yeah, yeah.
So she talked, I listened to a podcast of hers a while ago, and she talks a lot about writing. And she talks about like purpose, like young people like having this like purpose anxiety. And she talks about like there's a career, a job, a hobby, and a calling. And not everybody has a calling. And I think musicians and creative people have callings. And the definition of that is like, you're going to do it whether you're getting paid for it, whether people like it or not, because it feeds your soul. And that is how I've always felt about music, where it's like, it's this like special place that I get to go to and refuel for my life. Like, that's where I like get like life energy to go do stuff and meet people. So there is kind of this like internal force that like kind of drives me to keep doing it. And then it's also like songwriting specifically is like, I need it. It helps me make sense of myself. It helps me make sense of heartbreak and like life stuff. And so I'm grateful that it's what I've naturally gravitated towards, because it has like helped me get through so much in my life.
I love it. Yeah, we could talk for days about all of this stuff, but I'm under some constraints here, so I want to get to just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Do you write mostly on guitar or piano, or?
I go back and forth, and it's also, that's like a really helpful trick, is that like if I'm like writing mainly on guitar and I'm getting stuck, I'll just switch to piano. Like, I'll just like, all right, like I know the chord progression here, I'm just going to do it on the piano and see if anything else comes up. And it often does, because like sounds different. So I go through phases where I'm on both, but I tend to, it's like a really easy way to like get out of writer's block, switching instruments for me.
And is the violin helping you with like melody and stuff now? Are you coming up with like different melodies, or what is it doing for your songwriting?
It's been so cool. I mean, mainly what I've been doing is I've been going to like these like old man bluegrass jams that are like kind of up in the mountains in Colorado. And it's like, like bluegrass musicians are really good musicians. Like they know the standards and they're like not messing around. And I've started bringing my violin to those and just like improvising a lot. Like you sit in a circle and then like somebody calls a song and then you like play in circles. So it, like the solo passes from one person to another and you do it for like hours. So I've been going to these bluegrass jams with my fiddle and just kind of experimenting, and it definitely has been good for my songwriting in terms of like new melodies, and yeah, for sure.
Just inspiration, really. I mean, it's
Total.
funny because even just dialing up a sound, if you're using any kind of synthesizer or different sounds, can also just be like, oh, there's a song right there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I want to talk about Just My Luck, because one of the big reasons you're here on the podcast is your song, Just My Luck.
Yeah.
And there's a lyric in it that says, maybe you should go back to school and start an MLM. Utah is the MLM capital of the world. So I was wondering if you have any ties to Utah.
Okay, I don't have any ties to Utah, but I wrote that song in the Galapagos Islands. It like in a very rural environment. And I used to guide these backpacking trips for 18-year-olds, and I would be with them for like a semester long. And that one was in like Peru and Ecuador. So like I spent like 6 weeks in the Andes with them and then 6 weeks in the Amazon. It was like this incredible group of students. Wow. Some of them are really creatively inclined, and we would like write music together at night, like in the jungle. It was really cool. But I found when I'm traveling, which I've traveled a lot for work over the years, I always will go find a church, because churches always have pianos, and I'll just like see if I can like slip into a back room in a church and like play the piano. So that whole recording was in a church in the Galapagos, and you can kind of hear traffic in the background, and you can hear like, wow. Yeah. And we actually tried to track that. We like tried to record that song like for real, and we just like couldn't capture the feeling. So we were like, screw it, make it like put the demo on there. But no, I don't have any ties to Utah. But the MLM comment and like the coven thing too was like honestly kind of like a little bit of like it's a little bit of a dig at like social media influencers who like aren't actually making anything. I mean, some are, and a lot have talent, but a lot of them are like making content, not art. And it's like, for this like quick dopamine hit, it's to get people to buy stuff. And I'm like just not into that. So that was like a little bit of a stab at that, which I feel a little bad about. But no real ties to Utah, other than that I do love Utah.
And I was wondering what the traffic noise was, or you added that separately or whatever. But if you recorded it live iPhone. And then right into an iPhone?
Right into an iPhone. And I do that a lot. iPhone is like, for whatever reason, iPhone really captures my voice well.
So, and then what were you playing on? Because it sounds like an electric piano or something. And is there a mod wheel on there or something?
Yeah, it's a dinky little keyboard with a mod wheel. And I just like happened to get a good take.
That's so cool. I love it. I know you're singing and you're putting a bunch of music out on TikTok, kind of, right? Are these new songs?
All new songs.
All new songs. And do you have plans to release another EP or some singles anytime soon?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I have some constraints, just like all artists do when they're starting out. And it's that I don't know how to produce at all. And I actually don't want to learn. I feel like learning, I actually tried to learn Logic earlier this year, and it like was taking so much time away from actually playing music, because I was like watching YouTube tutorials on how to learn Logic. And I was like, you know what? Like there are so many people who are good at this who love to do it. I should just find a really awesome collaborator who wants to produce my music and kind of understands the sound I'm going for. So that's kind of one constraint. So if anyone's listening to this and likes my music and wants to produce like a kind of experimental folk album, hit me up. And then also just like, time and people and money. But yes, I do intend, I have subtle plans to start recording again, hopefully soon, with a friend of mine in Salt Lake.
Oh, cool. So will you play a song for us?
Yeah, totally. I will. Okay, let me see what I got for you today. I've been playing like a lot of new stuff, but I wrote this song yesterday morning and I really like it. And we'll see how it goes because it's not very practiced, but it's called I Only Ever Say Yes. I only ever say yes to you. You only do what you say you will do. Live through the peace just to get to the fight. Why do I stand with my hands by my side? I was a stone, skipped over ice. You were like grass, growing towards light. Split me in half and then pick a side. We never knew how to do this right. The sky will fall like I knew it would. The glass begins to break, but I fall hard for performance art. I want it to make me shake. 10 years ago, doing it right. No sense of failing, pride on my side. Nobody tells you how to do it right. I earned my darkness, paid the price. And if I had known you way back then, you'd be a sparrow, I'd be a wren. Have I learned better what to fear? Or have I just suffered too long to care? The sky will fall like I knew it would. The glass begins to break, but I fall hard for performance art. I want it to make me shake. I want it to make me shake.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for being on Art and Artist, and I wish you so much peace and power as an artist so you continue to create and share your art with the world.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kyle. It was so good to talk to you.